Hello, my name is Cassidy, and thank you for joining me. Also, thank you for joining us over to live stream. We actually have people joining us digitally. So before we get started, please note the feedback forms in your chairs and take some time to share your thoughts on our programming. Your feedback, of course, helps us to plan our future events. With that, I am delighted to introduce Diane Haggerty. Diane is owner of Grassroots Taxes and has over 20 years experience working in all areas of taxation, including representing clients to the IRS, Department of Finance, and other taxation agencies. Very scary. Diane holds a BSVA in accounting and management and is an enrolled agent, the highest credential awarded by the IRS. We are so happy to have her here today. One thing I will mention, we're going to have a Q&A session near the end. If you guys will raise your hand if you have a question, hold it to the end, raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll bring by a mic so even the live stream people can be sure to get all the information they can. With that, I am delighted to introduce Diane Haggerty.
Am I on? Yes, okay, they turned the mic on. I don't have access to a remote, so I don't know how to turn it on and off, and I haven't played with this yet. Oh, do we need to do full screen? Are we supposed to do that? Is that it?
At the top there, there should be start slideshow.
Oh, start slideshow. Oh, did I? Wait. I don't know how to do this. Is that on right? Is that right?
If a librarian's staring, sometimes it works.
Well, while she's figuring that out,
Oh, you're all looking.
I guess she already introduced me, so I guess I don't need to say anything else about that. Please don't fall off the stage. She's good. Okay. Just checking. Again, I'm Diane Haggerty. I would say I'm just up the street, but I am no longer just up the street. For those of you who already, I know, see a few familiar faces out here. I am not right up the street anymore. I was renting from the University of Arkansas. They decided they were going to use my space for something else. They did not renew my lease, and here we are. So I am now in Springdale, right across the street from Waffle House, co-located with my friend Valerie at Valerie's Family Taxes. So one of the things I like to tell everybody is I cannot teach a semester of accounting. I cannot teach an entire business course in an hour and a half. I will try desperately. So usually I tell everybody just stop me if you have questions. But since we are live streaming, you need to have the mic, so hold your questions. If I'm going too fast, you just want me to clarify, just kind of, what, you know. But any specific questions, we need to get on the mic. So we got a few more seats over here. We'll have to put up more chairs, yay. Okay, so let me make sure I can make this thing work. Oh, look at that. Today's topics, business structure, record keeping, records you need to keep, pricing, compliance, and what's compliance? Like all the government agencies you need to deal with that you didn't think of yet? Yeah. And then other issues, which is basically, do you really want to be self-employed? And we'll get to there. So what is a business? This is a big one. A lot of people, like I'm a business. Well, I'm not. I'm just a hobby, right? Or, well, I think it should be a business. But one of the biggest questions I get when I do talks is, well, how do I make my business legit? How do I get official? I'm like, well, so let's look at that. IRS definition is intent to pursue a profit. So if you want to make money doing what you're doing, you're already a business, whether you've made your first dollar or not. So that's the only legal thing the IRS says. Now, there's some other issues. I dug a little bit deeper into IRS issues. I don't have any place up here for my notes, and I'm like running out of room, sorry. Oops. Another thing is if you're advertising, even if you hadn't made any money, the IRS considers that when they look at you and they're like, well, are you a legitimate business? I mean, you've taken all these losses and you haven't made any money. Why are you a real business? You know, how do I know you're just not a hobby? If you're advertising your stuff for sale, that's another big clue. But other than that, you're already a business. Now this class is specifically, now I know not all of you are from Maker to Market people. I invited a lot of people and I have some of the public here, which is great. The For Maker to Market program was specifically for people that are makers. Okay, so people that are selling products, not service. So if you are a service business, a lot of this applies to you. There's some things that won't. But I'm specifically looking at people that are selling products. Okay, so anyway, if you are advertising your product and you intend to make a profit, you're probably already a business. So let's look at common structures, right? Oh, look at that. So your business structure is how you're legally formed in your state. You've got several choices. You can be a sole proprietor, which is you're already it. You're there. If you have a product and it's for sale and you've told somebody about it and you're advertising, you're already a sole proprietor. Done deal. So things that you might want as a sole proprietor, now this is stuff, if you are a sole proprietor, you might want to take notes. I know they gave you little tiny pencils, but anyway, things that you might want to do if you are a sole proprietor is first, get an employer identification number. People look at me like, I don't have employees. Why do I need an employer identification number? Because it's a substitute for your social security number when people pay you. Or when you look at stuff, you have to put your tax ID number on there. If you're a sole proprietor, you're generally, under the law, it's under your social. You can get a substitute for your social by saying, my business has an EIN number. And you can put that on most things like permits and tax IDs. So you're not, and like your 1099s, if you're paying contractors, you don't want your social on there. You don't. So get an EIN number. They're free. If you go to irs.gov, I think there's like an attachment. I think like the last page is like an attachment. I don't remember. I don't have that page. I didn't print that page out for myself, but in the back it should have most of this in the notes. But if you go to get an EIN online, like Google it, you will have 15 places that are going to charge you a fee to do that. It is free. You go straight to irs.gov, not irs.com or irs.anything else, the actual United States IRS website, and you can apply for an EIN online for free. If you do not go to the IRS site for free, you will be scrolling through Google forever. Okay, it is free. Anybody that's trying to charge you money is wrong. Okay, the other thing you might want to do if you are a sole proprietor is get a DBA. So unless your legal name, first and last name, is part of your business, so it can't be just like John's Mowing. Okay, it has to be like it has to be John Smith Mowing. If you're not using your whole legal name in your business, then you need to have a DBA. Where do you get that? If you are indeed in Washington County, since we are, College and Dixon is the, oh sorry, I better not do that. College and Dixon, second floor, you go to the clerk, you say I want a DBA, you have to pay in cash. They do not take checks and they do not take cards. So you have to pay in cash and the form has to be notarized before you go over there. They will not notarize it for you at the courthouse. Get your own notary, go to the bank, get it notarized. Why do you need a DBA? Because if you are doing something under XYZ business, XYZ trinkets, whatever you're selling, you put that, people are gonna go and they're like, well, who is this? Who is this guy? Like they misrepresented their product, or I don't like their stuff, or I want to partner with them. How do they know who you are? So it's to show complete clarity as to who you are when you have a DBA. So you're not like lying. If you have a question, ask me and then I'll have to repeat it.
Does this include subcontractors as well?
Not sure what you're asking. Like if you are the subcontractor?
Yes.
So if you are a subcontractor, you will probably be using your personal name as your business name. If you are not using your business name, you should get a DBA. So even if you're a subcontractor, if you are working under XYZ subcontractors, you should have a DBA for that. Okay, and it's $25 over at the courthouse. I don't know exactly how every county goes about it. If you're in Washington County, if you're operating in Washington County, you need to be there. So, okay. Next step, partnership. If you have a partner, now this could be your spouse or it could not be your spouse. If your partner is your spouse, it's not that big of a deal. You don't need to be a partnership. If you are a partner with somebody that is not your spouse, you should probably have a partnership agreement in addition to an EIN, in addition to a DBA, because now you're a partnership. You got to have some kind of business name. It's one or the other of you. You should probably also have a partnership agreement. Who does what, what's expected of everybody, how the stock, well, not stock, but how the ownership is, split out, what's expected of you financially, what's expected, who deals with what, who's the tax matters partner. There's plenty of attorneys out there. I also do operating agreements and partnership agreements if you want, but you can just get a professional to help you. I do not suggest going to like legal mishmash online for free. They're not very good agreements, and they're not specified for your state. They're just very general, and Arkansas has some weird laws. We're here, so make sure you get something that actually is done by somebody who knows an Arkansas law. Okay, last one, and this is my biggest one. I need an LLC, Diane, I need an LLC. I get that like at least once a week. I need my LLC, I need it now. I gotta be official, I need my LLC. Hi, I think, where's my IT guy and where's my hostess? Oh, Dan can get chairs. I think we're out of tables though. We're gonna have to kind of squeeze in. We got a few more people. Oh yeah, we got one more seat. Dan's gonna get some chairs. But anyway, I think we're out of table space, so somebody might have to squish together. Anyway, so I get this all the time. I need an LLC. I gotta have it now. I gotta be official. No, you don't. Okay, I tell everybody there's 3 reasons. Wait, do I have a slide for this? You need an LLC. I tell everybody there's 3 reasons. Liability, insurability, taxation. You do have a slide for this. I'm gonna kind of, do you have a question back there?
Yeah, how many people, how many LLC can one person have?
The question is, how many LLCs can one person own? A lot. I have some real estate agents that have a different LLC, not agents, real estate, people that own a lot of real estate holdings that have a different LLC for every single property.
You can have several, huh?
You can have many, many LLCs.
I finding out in China, one person only one LLC.
Oh, no.
Now we're so scared when I'm finding.
No, this is America. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff and get away with it, especially when it comes to corporate structure.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I just want to make sure that, again, we have some newcomers. I really can't just directly answer your questions because we're being live streamed. Hi, everybody out in live stream land. So I do need to repeat your questions so that people can hear it over the mic and they can understand what you're saying. Okay? So anyway, liability, insurability, taxation, I go over this all the time. So it is a limited liability company, right? So what is liability that you're limiting? Okay, a lot of people say, I can do anything I want, right? No. I got to keep, I'll put the remote in this hand because every time I move my arm, I move the mic. You absolutely cannot do anything you want. It does not limit your personal liability. Okay, it limits your financial liability. So if you sign a lease for 5 years and your business crashes and you have to move out, that's great. If the lease is under the company and the company goes under, you are not personally responsible for the remainder of that lease, unless of course you signed it that way, which a lot of people will make you do that. But anyway, it's a financial liability. You don't have to pay for the company's problems with your personal assets and money. Now, lawyers, court, lawsuits, all this stuff, okay, I can't guarantee that, but it does add layers to make it more difficult to come after your personal assets. Okay, so liability, insurability, that's a big one. When I see people in the construction business, I know most of you are they're makers, we're selling products, but there is product liability, right? So if your product would hurt somebody, can they come after you and take your house, take your car, destroy your credit? Not really. If you have an LLC, it will. But again, insurability goes into that. So if there's a problem, have insurance, right? So this is what the insurability thing is. I see this would happen with my construction people all the time. Is they're building something, they run over a line, the one ditch digger runs over the water line or whatever. And now we have a problem and it costs a lot of money. So who pays for that? The insurance. Okay, so business insurance is different, far different than your normal insurance. Okay, they have to sell you health insurance. They have to sell you car insurance. They have to sell you homeowner's insurance in case your house burns down. Don't matter how many claims you have, somebody's required by law to sell it to you. Just the price goes up. Business insurance doesn't work that way at all. If you make a claim on your business insurance and it's big, tomorrow it's bye Felicia. You're gone. They can you. They just cancel your policy. They'll pay it out because they're required to. This is the same with workers' comp too. They'll pay out, but then what? Then they cancel you. And it's not required by law. So they can get together with all their other insurance company friends and be like, no, don't sell this guy. He's high risk. High risk. Nope. Bye. And nobody will sell you business insurance. And that's perfectly legal if they're not required to sell it to you. So when it comes to workers' comp issues, business liability insurance, stuff like that, so what happens? If you have an LLC or a corporation, and that's the policyholder, what do? Close the company. It's not you personally that's uninsurable now. You can start another company tomorrow. Go back to business, and you can get an insurance policy that somebody will actually sell you. So, insurability. If you're in a high-risk business, construction, mowing lawns, you'd think that wouldn't be high risk. But you'd be surprised the accidents I've seen with people mowing lawns and hitting a rock and breaking something. So anyway, anything that's dangerous, anything where you have a workman's comp issue, anything where your people are doing anything dangerous, using tools, you may consider that. Especially if you go into manufacturing, you're going to have people using tools and touching things that are hot and whatever. Get workers' comp. Make sure the workers' comp policy is in an LLC, not you personally. Now, finally, taxation. I'm the tax lady. That's why we're here. How does an LLC save you money tax-wise? People always see all this stuff on the internet. It's just like, ooh, we can do income shifting. That was my favorite scam. I saw this income shifting. I was like, oh, we can shift your income and save you all kinds of money. It's like, y'all are just making stuff up. Really. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, I make TikToks and stuff, and I try to be funny, but some of the marketing scams out there are just not correct. They're just not telling the truth. And yes, an LLC can save you money on your taxes. If, for one, you're paying taxes, you have to have a considerable profit coming in. So, if you don't have a profit of $10,000 or $15,000, an LLC is not going to save you anything. It's really not. The way it saves you money, is this huge secret that everybody tries to hide from you on the internet, is that you pay yourself, right? So when you're a sole proprietor, partnership, 100% of that money is considered, I need my air quotes, self-employment income. It's work. And things that are subject to work are subject to Social Security tax. When you are self-employed, it is not 7.5%, like you usually get taken out of your check. It's twice that. You get to pay the employer half and the employee half. 15% self-employment tax. That is a lot of money. That's on top of income tax. And that's not, but I got kids and I got deductions. No. No. Completely different tax. Collected on the same form, completely different tax. It is based on the profit of your business. So if you start having a very profitable business, guess what? Your taxes are going to be sky high. 15% on top of what you're already paying. Self-employment tax is super expensive. So how do we get out of that? Well, you can't get out of it completely. But if you're a company, you have a company that's not you. You have a baby, and then you have yourself. You're completely separate when you have an LLC. Your company pays you a salary for your work, and the remainder of the money that comes in as a profit is investment income. It is profit from being the owner of the company. It is a dividend. It is not work nor subject to Social Security. So that's it. That's the huge secret. But you can save money on your taxes that way by paying yourself a reasonable salary. So when you start making, $50,000 or $60,000 a year, you can pay yourself a reasonable salary of, say, $25,000. Pay Social Security tax on that. You just cut your 15% Social Security tax in half. Okay. You can save a considerable amount of money, but it's not some magic secret. You don't need some crazy marketing shifting income scheme or whatever. All right. So why would you get an LLC? Unless you are doing something right now that involves a risk, like you have employees that are doing anything other than paperwork, like if they're making things. I have people that forge knives and stuff. Okay, workers' comp. I'm going to talk about workers' comp for a second. I might come back to it. If you have workers' comp on your employees or contractors, your subs too, counts for your subs. So if just like, oh, they're not my employees, I just 1099 them at the end of the year. Oh, no, they're working for you. They're doing what you say. Workers' comp covers you. If you do not have a workers' comp policy and somebody gets hurt, and God forbid, like gets really hurt, like loses a limb or something, you will be paying that out for the rest of your life. You can pay their medical bills for the rest of their life. If you have workers' comp, I might have said that backwards. If you do have workers' comp, they're like, oh, what's your injuries? Oh, lost a leg, that's $150,000. Lost an arm, that's $200,000. Here's your check. Of course they're going to fire you. You know, we're back to that. They're going to fire you. They're going to write this person a check, and guess what? They can't come after you again for more money. That's it. It's over. The event is over. They can't keep coming after you for the rest of your life. So if you have any employees or any contractors that are actually doing work for you that aren't like your best friends or your cousin or your girlfriend or whatever, and it's somebody that would actually sue you, if they get hurt, you can pay their medical bills for the rest of your life. I have, I guess they weren't a client. I guess I just knew them, but they came to me afterwards, and that happened to them. They had a nice house, 2 houses and an RV and a lot of money. And when they came to me, they had lost, they were down to living in the RV. They had to sell both houses to pay off this guy's medical bills. And this was a family with 6 children. Yeah, don't be silly. It's like, I can't afford it. Trust me, you can't afford not to have workers' comp, liability insurance, things like that. If you have people working for you and doing anything, any possible way they could get hurt. So anyway, let's move on. Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm actually still, I've been writing this book for so long. I'm sorry. One of these days I'm going to finish this book. The name of my book, Make Money First. And that's what I tell everybody. That's my biggest thing. Don't decide if you need an LLC today before you even start. Have a customer, sell 1 or 2. Get out there, get the feel for it. Have somebody, hey, you got any more of those things? That's the point where you want to start talking about forming an entity with the state and spending some money. It costs twice as much to make it go away as it does to start it up, and it costs you $150 a year to keep it. So have customers, have some money coming in first. Make sure that what you are making in your idea is actually a saleable idea and is going to fly before you bother with an LLC. Unless you have people working for you. But anyway, success in business is measured in dollars. I say that a lot too. There's a lot more to like seeing if your business is successful, feeling successful. But the only way people around you can see if you're successful is by measuring it in dollars. So it really doesn't matter if everybody's like, well, Diane's the best accountant in town. We just love her. You know, if I go to the bank and I haven't made any money, they're not going to give me a loan no matter how many people think I'm great. Okay, so. Excuse me. All right. So where am I? Oh, right on time. Here we go. So how do we measure stuff in dollars? Everybody wants to know how you're measuring dollars. Record keeping. Okay, this kind of moves on to record keeping and bookkeeping. And this is what part that everybody hates, right? Paperwork. I'm an artist. I make stuff. I hate numbers. I know. All of my clients are right in your shoes. I have very few clients who love doing paperwork numbers. Very few. Like 2 or 3 out of like hundreds. So I get it. So why do we need record keeping? The past, we need to review what happened. Are you profitable? Are you actually making money? How do you know? Let's find out, right? The future, what the numbers that you have, the history you're establishing, even if it's a very short history when you're starting out, you can predict the future. You can. We're going to look at that. And then we have other people. That's your big one. The IRS wants to know how much money you're making. The bank, if they're going to give you a loan. Some people are going for grants, like nonprofits or whatever. Some people go for grants. They need to know what you're doing. You want to go to one of these scale-up things? Anybody involved with Startup Junkie or Elevate or... No? Yeah, we got one. Okay. So there's a lot of the Brewer Center, Center for Entrepreneurship. Oh, come on now. Okay, there's like 5 places right around here that help for free. Free. Okay, Startup Junkie is in the Pryor Center. The Entrepreneurship Center is across the street from the post office in the building, it's kind of a gray building. I think it's called the Hathcock Building. It used to be, I think they renamed it. Here's one on Block Street. The Brewer Center is next door to City Hall. And then there's the Small Business Technology Development Center that's part of the University of Arkansas up in the business school. There's like literally like 5 places that'll help you for free. They're funded by grants that are just waiting for you to walk in the door and help you. If you need more on that, ask me afterwards and I'll make you a list. Okay? So everybody wants to know your business. Everybody wants to know your numbers because it's the only thing that they can tangibly look at and say, oh, you're successful, you're not successful, you have a good idea, you don't have a good idea. In the back, yes?
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Maybe not the right time, but can LLC accept grants?
Okay, her question for the viewers online is, can an LLC accept grants? It depends on the grant and who's giving away the money. There is very few grants out there for-profit businesses. It depends on what you're doing. I'm not like a grant expert. I do have a few people you could contact, but the Walton Center, the Walton people do give some money out because if it's things that are better improving society. So yes, you can accept it. For-profits can get grants. It is taxable income though.
What about the donations?
It's all taxable income. There is no such thing as donations for a for-profit company. If you are looking at something like that, you might consider forming a nonprofit instead. So again, that's another class I teach here. But anyway, but always feel free to ask me. I'm going to be here until the last question's answered. I promise you, everybody here at the library gets kind of cranky about 8 o'clock when they start throwing us out. I will stand in the parking lot and answer your questions until every question is answered. Okay? So don't feel like you're asking too many questions. The questions are the best part. Okay. Let's talk about record keeping. Things to know. So this is 3 different levels of stuff on this slide. You might want to kind of look at your paper or whatever, kind of make some notes on this one. So this is 3 levels of stuff. Things you need to know. Are you profitable? Are you making money? That's kind of important. But you can be making a profit and still be completely mired in debt. I could go out and borrow $50,000 and then put $100 into something and sell one thing for $1. I've just lost $99. Okay, it could be the other way around. Let's say I invest $5 and I make 20. So I have a profitable company. I made 15 bucks. I'm $50,000 in debt. Okay? Just because you're profitable doesn't mean you can pay your debts. Can you pay your debts? And then, well, maybe I didn't borrow any money. Maybe I cashed in my IRA to start my business, which you can do. Some people do that. It's a little scary. Are you ever going to be able to repay that IRA and get your money back? Even if you're profitable and paying the bills, keeping the doors open, are you ever going to get that money back in addition to a salary? Are you? I don't know. Let's find out. That's what bookkeeping's for. Okay. This is the part I'm going to skip over a lot, and I'm going to go real fast through this because the first time I taught this class, I didn't talk very much about pricing your product, and everybody stayed till like 9:30 and wanted to know how to price their product. Okay, so I added a lot more for pricing your product, and this is something how to go. So the notes are here, but I'm calling it Accounting -1 because this is even less than Accounting 1 in school. Okay, so this is Accounting -1, and I'm going to go through this really quick. So you need to know these words. Expenses. Expenses are things that are used up. Okay, I'm going to write it off. That's everybody's, I can write this off, right? I'm going to write it all off. I'm going to write off everything. I'm going to write off my shoes. I'm going to write off this. I'm going to write off that. Okay, no. You can't write off everything. What you can write off, your business expenses you can write off, are things that are used up. So say I bought this podium. It's a nice podium. The library bought this podium. Well, they're a nonprofit, so it doesn't work the same way. But anyway, the library bought this podium. Can they just write this off? It's not used up. It's still here. I'm still using it. It's been here for like 15 years. What gives? How do I write it off? Okay, things like this are an asset. Big difference. I'm kind of glancing out here and kind of looking for a median age. There's a few people out here that are going to remember Enron from like 2001, or if you went to school, you learned about Enron. Okay, I got a few people laughing about Enron. This is why Enron failed, sort of. They did it on the other side of the balance sheet, same thing. They did it with their debt. We had monthly payments. It's expenses. We don't have any debt. We're debt-free. It's monthly bills we pay. Everything was leased. So instead of putting the lease on there as like, oh, look at all this debt we've accumulated. Oh, no. It's just monthly payments like the electric bill. It's just our monthly expenses. We don't have any debt. We're debt-free. Look how much our company's worth. Look at our stock soaring. Look at what we're... No, they lied. Okay, they didn't lie because it wasn't illegal then. It is now, which is why we have the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. And if you took any accounting or business school, I'm sure you've heard that. SOX. I got a few nods. Okay. So there's a difference. There is a difference, and it's a very important difference. Some things are expenses and some things aren't. So assets are things that are not used up. Now, tax law is made by politicians who use accountants and have never done their own taxes. So they don't know what they're doing. They just make stuff up. So when you depreciate things on your taxes and write things off on your taxes, it's a completely different set of rules is what a bank wants to see, which is actual accounting. So just because you write stuff off on your taxes, like this great podium or a car, doesn't mean that's what the bank wants to see and that you're actually a healthy company. So you need to consider that, which adds to liabilities is money you owe. Okay. Now, if you sign on for something that pays out over a year or 5 years, you need to put that on, you need to account for that and say, yes, I do have some debt. You can't just be like, no, it's monthly credit card bills. No. Okay, here's some other real super basics. What is a profit and loss? I think there's some examples. I didn't print out any of the pictures. I just have like the basic slides. So you should probably have maybe that's all the way in the back, of a picture of a profit and loss statement, a picture of a balance sheet. Is that, yes, looks like it's on the very back page. I'm kind of cheating off her page there. Anyway, a profit and loss. It shows sales and your expenses, whether you made a profit or not. So it's your expenses, things that you write off, not assets, not debt. Okay. It just shows your sales minus your current expenses, the money it took you to make that amount of sales. Easy peasy. Doesn't show asset purchases, debt payments, new debt, capital infusions. It doesn't show that you borrowed $50,000 last month. It doesn't show that you liquidated your IRA to pour more money into a failing company. But we had a profit. Okay, so the other one is the balance sheet. A balance sheet is a freeze frame picture. What do I have right this second? Not what I had all last year, not what flowed through. This is where the other stuff is. This is how much debt do I have? How many more years is this podium going to last before I have to throw it away? How much? What's this podium worth? Right? It shows you what you have. It doesn't show, so you can have a great balance sheet. Look, I have no debt. I have all these assets. Look at this great, I'm capitalized. Look how much money I'm worth, right? It doesn't show you if you have any sales. It doesn't show you if you're wasting your money, throwing it away, what you're wasting it on, where it's going. It doesn't show if you're bouncing checks. It doesn't show any changes over time. It's a snapshot. So a profit and loss shows a progress over an imaginary period of time, like a month, which, sometimes they have 5 weeks, sometimes they have 4 weeks, right? It's different every month. So balance sheet, snapshot of right now. So I wish I could teach an entire semester of accounting tonight, because if there's one thing I encourage you to do, if you continue going forward and you're going to be a business and you're going to do this, please, online, audit the course. You don't even have to pass, but take a semester of accounting. Fake your way through it. Don't just buy a book. Like, go through a college semester of accounting at the community college. Even if you audit and don't even get credit for it, I don't care if you pass. Just know what the words mean. You'll learn so much, and it'll be so applicable. Just me having one semester of accounting in high school, what I didn't even want to take, literally changed my life. Because I understood things that people didn't get. I was like, you're not making any money, dude. And that's how I got into accounting. Just because I didn't even want to be an accountant. I was a musician. I didn't want to be an accountant. That's for nerds, right? Anyway, I got tossed into accounting by accident, and here we are. 35 years later, I'm doing this, right? All right, so that is, let's get into predicting the future. This is more accounting stuff, more accounting words you should know. A quick ratio. You should definitely Google that. I try to modify it for really small businesses like yours, just starting out. A quick ratio. Your cash on hand, look at your bank account. Look at all your upcoming expenses and payments. All right? Your cash on hand, on top number, right? Divided by, right? You can put this in Google. All your expenses and upcoming payments in the next month, right? Next 30 days. That number should be at least 1. It should really be 2. You should have enough money in your business bank account to be able to hang on for 2 months, maybe 3, and keep the doors open, keep the payroll paid, keep your contractors paid. You really should not run out of cash. That's a bad idea. So that's one thing the bank does look at. You know, how much money is in your account, what's your monthly expenses? They look at your profit and loss, they look at your balance sheet. Boom, there's your 2 numbers. That's why you need to understand both financial statements. The bank looks at that all the time. Can you pay your bills? They're going to look at that. If you're running it like just over a 1, they're not going to loan you any money. You're not going to have the money to make the monthly payments on a loan. Okay? So you need to, it's that simple. They look at this, like I said, it's measured in dollars. Success is measured in dollars. They're going to look at it and be like, you don't have enough money in your bank account, like on a regular basis. You're not going to be able to make the payments on the loan. Sorry, bye. Have a nice day. So, quick ratio, know that number. Break-even point, this is so important. Your break-even point. Before you spend a dime, before you a lease in a place, before you rent a shop, before you invest in a bunch of inventory, literally before you do anything that's going to spend a lot of money, look at your break-even point. I'm going to tell you a story. It's not a nice story. All my stories are sad, which is why people don't come to me with good news. They just don't. They come to me when they're a disaster. So anyway, so I went to see this lady. She was going to open, she didn't come to me when she was going to open the restaurant. No. She came to me after she opened the restaurant, which, okay. The restaurant had about a very small number, like maybe like 22 seats, maybe 30. It was really small. It was a really small place, but it was in a very high traffic area. So feasible, right? So I was like, all right, let's see your menu. So she pulled out her menu. And I was like, so if I come in here and order a sandwich and a little side of something and a drink, it can be like 12 bucks. Okay. So I'm going to say your average ticket is 12 bucks. How much is your rent? Your utilities. It's basics, right? Restaurants always work. Now, I know you know some of you might be restaurants. I have a former restaurant owner. I don't know, but anyway, products are going to be different. But this is I do a lot of restaurants, so here we are. They run about the same. A comfortable spot for a restaurant to be is 30% overhead, 30% labor, 30% food, 10% profit. You generally don't make those numbers, but that's generally where most restaurants wind up that succeed. So I said, okay, so here's your overhead. Let's say that's 30% where it's supposed to be. Okay? That means you have to make this many sales a month. This much money in sales a month. I multiplied that by 3. You should be making, let's say her rent was $3,000. Okay? So I was like, you got to make $9,000 in sales a month. I'm not going to go through the whole math, but I took it down and told her how many seats. And I was like, you have this many seats in the restaurant. That means every seat in this restaurant has to be full 5 times a day. It ain't going to happen. Never, ever, ever going to happen. It ain't going to happen on a Monday. It ain't going to happen on a Saturday. It ain't never going to happen. It's just not. Where she was, there's no way she could fill up her restaurant 5 times a day to capacity. She had to be open 24 hours a day, and she still wouldn't make it. Like, there's no way. And she looked at me, and she was just like, his face was like this. I was like, you can't make it. You got charged like 3 times that and serve fancier food, and then you'll lose your customers, but you might make it. She didn't. 2 months later, she closed. She wasn't even open 3 months. Know your break-even point. Work the math back. If you are going to rent a shop, you look at the rent, you look at the utilities, you look at the insurance in case it burns down, right? You take all that stuff, you figure, okay, this is how many sales I need to make to cover this. So I got to have this many people helping me, working here, to help the payroll, to make the products, to make the sales. There's a lot of math to it, but you can figure it out. And if you don't think you could process that many sales, then maybe you ought to rethink before you get bigger. So, break-even point. If you need help with the math, I have helpers. I have people that work for me. I can help you. Shameless plug. Okay, there you go. So, let's talk about pricing. Oh, look at me, right on time. Look at this. I'm doing good. I'm doing great on time. We're going to have lots of question and answer time at the end. Pricing your product. This is going to be, I really looked up a lot of stuff and really thought hard about this because the first time I taught the class, I really didn't give everybody enough information. So this is kind of a newer part to this. Things that factor your pricing. I'm going to talk about the word commodity first. I can't ask questions and take stuff from the floor because they will. Streaming people, hi streaming people. All right, streaming people won't be able to hear your answers. So I'm just going to give the answer myself. A commodity, okay, is something that's the same no matter where you buy it. Right? Ground beef. It's all the same, right? I mean, it's a little bit different, but most of the time, you don't know what farm it came from. You don't know who made it. You don't know who sold it at the sale barn. It's ground beef. Nails. Does it matter what brand of nails, really? It's nails. They're all the same. Parts, screws, rubber bands. They're a commodity. Who cares where they came from or what they look like, right? Okay. That's what I mean by a commodity. If you and your product is viewed as a commodity, basically, if everybody thinks you're the same as everybody else's, that's going to make a huge difference in your ability to price your product. Huge. So, setting yourself apart, making yourself different, making your product like nobody else's is very important. Okay, so things that, let's go through this. The market. If your product is viewed as a commodity, the market sets the price. Oh, big one I didn't think of, gasoline. How come everybody's gas prices are the same? They're all within 20 cents. Come on in, have a seat. No matter where you go, they start going up, everybody goes up. They start going down, everybody goes down. Why is gas always at the same price everywhere? It's a commodity. Nobody cares. They don't care if you have, oh, I only have 9% ethanol. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's all the same. They're going to buy it anywhere. They're going to buy whoever's a penny cheaper. If you're viewed as a commodity, okay? So we have a little bit more people in here. This is generally where I kind of go around and ask everybody, but we're live streaming. Okay, so does anybody have particular products they want to share with the class? I'll have to repeat it. I know right up front here, we'll start with her, Willow.
Oh, yes.
She has a...
I have a baking business.
She does baking, and you
They
have...
all have, like, health supplements in them.
So she makes cookies that are actually good for you.
Yes.
So nobody's going to look at your product and think, oh, it's just a package of Chips Ahoy that I can buy for $2.39 at Walmart. No, it's something completely different. Okay, so you go to, I was like, hey, healthy cookies? You can have cookies that are healthy? Well, I'm down with that. And Dan's already Googling her. So anyway, Dan's in the back trying to figure out what she sells. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you a hard one.
Go ahead.
Gunsmithing and martial arts.
Okay, you're not selling a product. You can join my class. You're not from maker to market. So that's a service business, but go ahead.
I do laser engraving. It's just custom.
Laser engraving, there we go. Okay, so you need to find, it still works the same as a service business because, it's like, it's a dentist, right? Why do you go to a dentist? Because you like him? Because he's good looking? Because it's, I don't know. because he's okay, because your sister goes there. I mean, like, how do you pick somebody like it's a commodity? So you need, again, setting yourself apart, why you're different is so crucial to your pricing. When you're a service business, you want to get more people in for that reason. But I'm specifically, like, for maker to market, people that are in this part of the class is people that are actually makers selling products. So I'm talking specifically more about product pricing than service pricing, but I'd love to kind of go off on a side with that, but I have to kind of make it to 7:30. So anybody else with the product? Yes?
We have a bakery as well.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
On your shirt?
Yeah.
What do you do that's different?
The baker, the chef infuses her West Indian culture into it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're definitely not Walmart bakery donuts.
No.
Okay, so, okay.
Guava and passion fruit, those types of flavors.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Marking down that website too. Okay, now, I like my sweets, as you can tell. But anyway, anybody else want to share the product or what you're working on or your idea? Everybody's from the public and nobody's from Maker to Market? Wow. Who's here from the program that's been through the rest of the classes? That's it? Y'all came off of Facebook and stuff? Really? Oh, wow. I know this was one of the smaller from Maker to Market classes, so we do have a lot of service people, I guess. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, if you are viewed as a commodity, the market sets your price. You're going to be gasoline and nails and ground beef. You're going to be sell for what everybody else is selling. Not exciting. Set your service or your product far apart from everybody else. You have to be different. You have to stand out in your market to demand a higher price. Okay, now, costs. Costs are always going to set your price. That's it. You have to cover all your costs and your profit, and if you can't do that, then you're not going to have a profitable product. Okay, so let's talk about the next one a little bit, and that'll kind of come back to this one. Sometimes the customer sets the price. So say everybody's dream, making a product. We don't have a whole lot of people in here with products, okay. Everybody's dream is, I'm going to get on the shelf at Walmart. Or I'm going to get on the shelf or on Amazon. I'm going to be a sold by Amazon dealer. Like, I don't have to drop ship this junk no more. It's going to come from the Amazon warehouse. Okay, that's everybody's dream. That's where everybody wants to go. Trust me, you probably don't. I've got a lot of people that get that close and then they're like, that's just awful. That's not a good deal. So what do? Walmart takes a look at it. They go through your stuff. They look at your product. They listen to your presentation. Great. We're going to put it on the shelf for $4.96. And you look at them and like, well, it cost me $5.17 to make it. And they're like, there you go. Figure it out. Have a nice day. Let us know when you're ready. We're going to sell them for $4.96. And if you can't they tell you what they're going to sell it for. And you need to revise your process. You need to, again, why so many things are, outsourced to other countries with cheaper labor, is because they force the price down. You have to revise how you're manufacturing your product to get there. And you have to be able to make their numbers too. I mean, if they want so many, you got to make it. So that brings me back to your costs. You have to be able to cover your costs. This is where you got to be smart. This is where you got to figure it out. If it takes you 4 hours to make one of your custom products, are you making 20 bucks an hour? On top of that, plus paying all your bills and covering all your costs, and making a profit? Are you? I have a lot of people that go into businesses and it's just not going to be profitable. It's a hobby. You just like making stuff. That's great. If it's a business, you have to show that you're making a profit. You have to have an intent to make a profit. Other than that, you're just playing. And I hate to say that. I'm kind of mean sometimes with people. I'm like, all right, when it comes down to it, if it takes you 4 hours to make something by hand, that's great. I have artists, like visual artists that do like sculptures and paintings and stuff. I have several visual artists. And, they're not afraid to charge $2,000 for a painting that's like, not quite this big, but half that size. Something huge. They'll charge $2,000, $4,000. You look at me like I'm nuts, but they'll sell it for that because that's how much time and energy they have in it, and that's what it costs them to sell it. The murals on the sides of the buildings. I know what people pay. I know how much those murals cost to get put up. They're put up for bid. I know one in Fayetteville that the city paid for was $14,000. Don't be selling yourself short. Just don't. It's worth it. I mean, charge what you think somebody will pay. You don't have to be the lowest priced product out there. You need to be the best. If you're the best, people come to you. You just, that's what I tell her. Just be excellent. That's one of my favorite things to do. I say that a lot. Just be excellent. Just do the best job you can do. Do the absolute best job. Just do better than everybody else, and people will come to you because everybody else's stuff is junk. So especially when you're making art or making things, and I include food, specialty foods in with that it's art. Treat it like it's art. Charge like it's art. People will buy art. They will buy something that's handcrafted and made just for them. They will. Anyway, let's go through this. Where are we at? Pricing your product. Let's look at. I skipped a few pages on my stuff. I got to go forward. So, materials, everything. And I put includes packaging, labels, shipping, etc. You don't know how many people forget that stuff. I said, well, how much does it take you to make one? Well, the paint costs this, and this costs that, and the wood costs this, and the mold, and whatever. And I'm like, great. Do you not put labels on it? Do you not brand it? Do you not put it in a fancy package? Make it look like it's worth what you're charging? I mean, you can't sell people junk, and it's got to look good. And shipping? Are you including that? Oh, well, no. And I have a lot of eBay sellers. And they wonder why they don't make any money because, well, you have to include all that when you figure the price, all your materials. Figure out what it's really going to cost you, everything. Your labor, not just your work, not just making payroll. Pay you. What would you get paid doing that somewhere else? You need to make sure that you're getting enough that you're making a salary and making a profit. Salary and profit. If you can't do that, if you're not making enough money doing that, then either you're not charging enough or you need to revise your process and, clean up how you're doing things and take out some steps. So overhead, your fixed costs or your sunk costs. You can't get out of that. You need to cover it. You need to pay that stuff. Advertising and selling costs, administrative costs, occupancy costs, like your rent, electricity, water, trash, internet. Yes, ma'am.
Can you define fixed and sunk costs?
Yes. Your fixed or sunk costs. Sunk costs are things that you just can't get back. It's gone. You paid for a year for an insurance policy. You close your business. You think they're going to give you a refund? Well, workers' comp will, but no. Like liability insurance, they ain't going to give your money back. You think they're going to give you some of your rent back or just let you go on your lease? No. Things that are your sunk costs are things that you're never going to get back. You bought a big piece of equipment. It's great, right? Like this 3D printer, right? It's fantastic. It works for a week. Breaks. Turns out it's a piece of junk. What are you going to do? I mean, you could try to return it. What if you're outside the return window? I don't know. I just did that with a computer. I figured I'd try a cheap little computer, it's got to work, right? No, it lasted like 3 days. Quit working, overheats every 2 minutes. Have to send it back. Sunk cost, your experimental costs, your research and development. Now we'll get to that. Research and development is one of my favorite things. But things that you try that just didn't work. Let's say you're going to try and change a process, buy another doohickey, new tool, thing, and it just, this is a terrible idea. It doesn't work, okay. It's a sunk cost. You're not going to get it back. And you just have to learn to be like, well, it's the cost of doing business, try again, try something next. Sometimes you put something on your menu, it just doesn't sell. And you have like one thing that now you can't get rid of it. I've seen that happen a lot. It's like, oh, we're going to sell this kind of fancy kind of bread, and we bought this fancy stuff to put in the fancy bread, and turns out it's gross and everybody hates it. You can't recoup the ingredients. That's what I mean by sunk costs. And then your fixed costs are the things you have to pay every month: the advertising, administrative, right? You have to pay for some stuff. You got to pay for your website. You know, you got to pay for your advertising. You got to pay for, you know, you can't get that stuff back. So you have to, you know, figure in your overhead. You can't really, like, because you don't know how many you sell. Your overhead's not going to change. Okay, this is what your fixed costs are. It's not going to change. This is like a huge thing, and like, again, take a semester of accounting. Actually, this is like the second semester of accounting. But you have to be able to look at all, you know, what does it really cost you? So, you know, per piece, yeah. But you want to be able to make that money back at the end of the day of your fixed costs. So we got to look at your labors and material, and then you have to figure in like, okay, if I sell 30,000 of these, okay, yeah, my overhead's going to be covered. What if I sell 3,000? It's going to be a little different. So anyway, let's move on a little bit. So pricing your products. Figure your costs. Labor and material is your variable costs. Your fixed costs are the same if you sell 0 or 10,000. And then you have to also figure in your profit. So we set your price either way. So you can either work your way this way, start with your costs, figure a percentage in, how many are you going to sell? How many are you going to sell in this batch, right? This is what the textbooks, I don't have notes. I'm going to start over. The one on the left where it says number 1, this is what the textbooks tell you to do. Figure out all this stuff. But you don't know. You don't know how many you're going to sell here. So you don't know how are we going to cover your fixed costs? Like, I don't know. Crystal ball? I don't know. So 2, over on the right, I guess I should have titled this a little better, is we're going to go backwards. How do you set your price? You look at your variable costs each. How much does each one cost you to make? The actual labors and material. Look at your fixed costs for your current production run, is what I tell everybody. So how long is it going to take you? Say you get an order for 3,000 widgets, okay? How long is it going to take you to make 3,000 widgets? I don't know, month, 2 months, a week? You know, I don't know. I don't know what you're making. I don't know what you're doing. Look at your fixed costs for that production run if you're making a product. All right. So if you have an order, or you say, let's say I'm going to do, you know, sell 200 of them a week. Well, what's your fixed cost for a week? Look at your overhead. How much is your rent for a week? How much is your electricity for a week? Right? Divide it out. Figure out and then add that in. Just for the amount of time it's going to take you to make the stuff and get it sold and out the door. Then add a little bit of profit. That's the easiest way to figure this out when you're just small and trying. And a lot of people I know are working out of their home and don't have a whole lot of fixed costs, but you have a lot of sunk costs that you need to pay off. How much does it, you know, how much is it going to cost you for that production run? You know, if you get an order. Now, some of your stuff isn't order based. I'm not really sure. Like, I mean, bakers, yeah, you probably do a little retail, but if you get a big order, I don't know. What else is everybody doing? Maybe I can help if I get some more ideas. I've got 3 people have told me what you're doing. So, in the back?
I don't have a product, but I'm a massage therapist, and I'm just opening my own office.
Okay, massage therapist. Who else we got back here?
Acupuncture.
Acupuncture? A lot of service people. Okay.
Service, digital marketing for company.
Could you say that again?
Digital marketing for company.
Digital marketing. Okay. We have live stream. Hi, live stream people. Okay. All right. So acupuncture, massage therapist, digital marketing. You guys here?
For a welding shop.
Welding. Nice. Anybody else want to?
I'm a book coach, so like an editor.
An editor. Oh, I'm writing a book. Just talk. I've been writing this book for like 3 years. Okay. So anyway. I know. One day I'll finish. But anyway. Okay, so we have quite a few service people here. The one time I have this all set up for maker to market, I get mostly service people. So, yay. Okay, so let's just talk about that. How do you price your service? Okay, you need to look at, especially we have a lot of service people just working for your own, I guess, like healthcare kind of stuff, marketing, welding, same thing. Now, welding is going to be a little bit different. You need to look at your costs as well, plus your labor. You're going to have a little bit different story there. My straight service people, that's where I'm at. Service, that's what I do. Same thing. You don't have a whole lot of overhead. But you need to look at how much, how many clients do you see a month, right? And then what's your rent? Kind of, and your utilities and all that, and divide it up by about how many clients you can see. I know massage therapists, several actually, and I know you can only do so many massages a day before your arms fall off. So, I mean, how many people can you legitimately see a week? And then work your way back. Again, we're going back to the commodity issue too. You're going to have some market pressure as to what you're doing, unless I have a massage therapist that always is like, oh, you want the CBD? And she throws that, charges extra $20 or whatever, $50 or whatever it is for the extra CBD oil, or something like that. Or, you can upsell too, is another way to kind of, make your service special, something like that. Or somebody do the hot stone massage, that kind of thing. We don't have a whole lot of acupuncturists in town, so you got it going. You got it going on there.
We have a lot in Fayetteville.
Really? I've known of like one.
Yeah, there's like,
One other than you. Really?
off the top of my head.
Yeah, but still. There's like 40 chiropractors, so your competition's down. So, yeah. But you need, one thing, especially setting yourself apart, making yourself why are you different? Why should I come to you instead of everybody else? And this is just one of those things that, I tell everybody. It's like you go to networking or you go to small business administration kind of ribbon cuttings and their morning brew thing. You go on and talk to them. It's like, oh, great. What do you do? Boom. You better know. Have a 1-minute speech, an elevator pitch, what they call it. You're on the elevator for like you got an audience for like 30 seconds on the elevator before the doors open. You better spit it out quick. What do you do and what makes you different? What sets you apart? If you don't know that, they won't either. Don't be afraid to plug yourself and be like, hey, this is why I'm different. This is why my experience is different. This is why I can help you better than everybody else. I was not good at public speaking. So if you're not, that's okay. About 12 years ago, I was the worst at public speaking, and I was terrified to go to a networking meeting and say anything about what I did. And then I had somebody teach me some public speaking. She taught me a lot of stuff. She had a squirt bottle at one point, and every time I did something I shouldn't have done, like moved, or I had to give a speech with like this. She's like, if anything moving but your lips, you're wrong. And she'd squirt me with a squirt bottle. But anyway, it was on TV, so I couldn't do all this stuff that I did and get animated. I had to stand still. But anyway, she taught me a lot. And now I'm teaching classes. I'm not afraid of public speaking at all. It's kind of fun. But make sure that you know what you're doing. And if somebody says, hey, what do? You have it in your head. You know exactly what you're going to say and spit it out in 30 to 60 seconds. Because they're going to be like, yeah, so what? After that. What makes you different? Because every time somebody hears that, they're going to be like, oh, that's great. But if people go around, it's like, hey, I know a guy that does that. I know a welder. I know an acupuncture lady. That's the more you. So anyway, that's my marketing spiel for today. I got to get back to taxes and money anyway. All the boring stuff. All right. This thing I say is another one of the things I say a lot. And this is sad. I'm not the happiest person around here. Let me get a drink of water. And I'm not gonna be like, yeah, being self-employed is great. It's the best thing you'll ever do. You'll love being self-employed. No, it's a lie. You won't. Being self-employed is hard. It takes a lot out of you. There's nobody telling you what to do. There's nobody answering your questions. Oh, crap, I did it again. Sorry. I gotta quit touching that. I need somebody with a squirt bottle. Anyway, quit touching the microphone. Yeah, that's true. She's back there looking at me like, quit touching it. All right. I say this a lot, and this is kind of the, do you really want to do this? My favorite thing, everybody says, oh, you're such a good cook. You should open a restaurant. Don't do it. Okay, I owned a restaurant a long time ago. You're on your feet 10 hours a day in a 110-degree kitchen, and nobody cares. Okay, and you're covered in grease, and you stink every day. 7 days a week because everybody calls on sick. When it's supposed to be your 1 day off, you might get once a month. No. You have to want to be there. You have to want it. You have to really want it to own a restaurant. And one of the things that, even in my life, I mean, like, I'm not in that anymore, obviously. You know, when I leave here tonight, I'm going to spend another 2 or 3 hours working on a case, and then I'm going to appear as an expert witness in court tomorrow. I got slapped with this on Monday afternoon. The lawyer was hired on Monday morning, and I was the only person who would work with her to be an expert witness 3 days later. So yeah, are you prepared to do that? Are you prepared to like drop everything and take on an impossible case? I don't know exactly what you're doing. But you know, there's going to be a lot of hard decisions. There's going to be a lot of long nights. And everybody's like, you know, your passion is now production. What you love doing, if you love making art, you're going to be up like all night one night making your art over and over and over and over and over again to make that big order and get your deadline. What you thought was fun is now your job. So be prepared for that mentally if you're going to get bigger and like, oh, we're going to scale up and we're going to do this and we're going to get rolled big and then we're going to get bought by Amazon. Like, you know, like, it's not like that. You have to really want it. But I promise you, once you're self-employed and you like it, you will never go back. You will be the worst employee and nobody will ever hire you again. You will be ruined. You'll be like, no, I know how to do that better. Like, shut up and do your job. Like, no, you're doing it all wrong. You're fired. Like, anyway, so that takes me to subjective issues. I got about 10 more minutes before we get question and answer, so hang on to your questions. Okay, so this is what, big fancy companies, big corporate things, they talk about a balanced scorecard. We need to have a balanced scorecard. We need to have a better culture around here. We need to improve our culture. Okay, no. But, you know, a balanced scorecard is, are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy self-employed? Are you happy doing what you're doing? Because if you're not happy, I don't care how much money you're making. I really don't. And neither will you. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. If you hate getting out of bed every day, you hate doing what you're doing, why are you doing it? Go do something else. You know, can you do the cold sales? I have a lot of people that are introverted. I'm not pointing at anybody in this room, but I can see who you are from up here. Can you call people and make cold sales? Can you just call up somebody? It's like, hey, they probably need my product. Let me send them a message on Instagram, you know, or whatever. Can you do that? Can you just cold call a person? Yeah, I see some nods, but then the people I know there's some people out there that ain't gonna nod. They're gonna be like, oh. You know, if you can't do cold sales, how are you gonna sell your product? You need a business partner. You need an extrovert business partner, okay? Can you do all the paperwork? And 99% of everybody's be like, oh no, man, don't make me do paperwork, okay? But get somebody who will do it for you. Hire somebody. Get a business partner. Have somebody partner with you that loves doing that stuff. Believe me, we're out there. There is people out there that's good at it and loves doing it. And can you people every day? Really? Are you just sick of people? I mean, look at this guy here. Yeah, you're teaching classes every day. You're probably so peopled out.
I teach martial arts.
Yeah. So yeah.
4 days a week.
Yeah. By the 5th day, you're probably ready to hide into your blankie, right? No? Okay. He's a people person. Okay, but some people are not people. It's like it's just, you know, can you people all day? Okay. I tell everybody else, know your why. Why are we here? Why are you self-employed? Why don't you just get a job doing the same thing somewhere else? Right? So, I know I hate working for other people. I like making my own decisions, I like making my own hours, I like choosing my own customers. If I don't like somebody, I'm gonna be like, I don't think so, bud. I don't think we're a good match. I think you need to find yourself another accountant. I get people like that, you know. It's not many. I'm usually pretty nice, tolerant, understanding, but some people are just jerks, and I don't want to work for you, you know. So, you don't get to do that when you have a job. So, anyway, and the last two here, are you contributing something? Are you giving something back? Are you? I mean, like, are you solving a problem? Are you making people happy? Do people love coming to you? Do you have smiling face customers that are just so happy that you're doing what you're doing? Because that counts for a lot. You know, making people's lives better, I mean, you know, even if you're contributing something as cookies that are good for you, you know, or just cookies that make you happy, right? I mean, it's like cookies are important, you know. But you know, are you contributing something to somebody's lives, or are you just like a health insurance company that's just soaking people for money and standing in the gap? You know, like, what are you actually selling anyway? What do health insurance companies sell? Like nothing, right? They just sadness. I mean, are you the news? Because the news is pretty miserable too, right? I mean, so are you contributing something that makes people happy and improves their lives? Because that makes a big difference. I mean, I feel like I save people from the government all the time. The government misunderstands everything in their favor, and I correct that for a lot of people, and that changes people's lives. I have smiling customers that love me, right? Okay, and does your business fit your lifestyle? This is another one. Actually, I stole that. I stole that from Mark Zweig. He used to teach, I think he might still teach at the university, entrepreneurship. He says that, you know, if you are wanting to sell things overseas, if you want to get into an international market, are you okay with never being home and being on a plane all the time? Because if you're not, it's not gonna work. If you don't like being on your feet all day, don't be in a restaurant. If you're not really a people person and don't like peopling all day, don't get into outside sales. Like, just don't, okay? And if you're not a person that can sit indoors, like my other son, I'll tell you, he'd rather die than be chained to a desk and have to do a desk job. He wants to be outside doing stuff all day long. Accounting, not for him, okay? Do something that you like. Do something that fits your lifestyle. And just because what you're doing now doesn't quite make it, doesn't mean you can't change your business a little bit, and you can change direction to what does make you happy, what does contribute something, what does fit your lifestyle and make everybody happy, right? So you're in charge. The world is your oyster. It's your company. You can drive it any way you want. All right, now, sad stuff, taxes. We've got 10 minutes to go over all this stuff. I don't like harping on this stuff because it's awful, but you have the notes, and I promise you, all this stuff is different. So we have income tax, which is collected by the IRS and also collected by the state of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Louisiana. All charge state income tax. Texas does not. So if you're anywhere around here, you're probably paying state income tax to the Department of Finance, which collects everything else, not to be confusing, but they collect all the taxes. And income tax to the IRS. That is based on the profit of your company plus all your other income like interest, dividends, W-2 jobs, blah, blah, blah. Self-employment tax. We talked about that when we were talking about why you need an LLC for taxation, right? Okay. Self-employment tax is 15% of your business profit. Uncle Sam takes a huge chunk of what you're making. So be wary of what goes on your taxes because you will lose 15% of it to Uncle Sam in addition to your income tax. But while we're talking about income tax, we have a huge credit, the research and development credit. I usually go off on a little bit more than this, but I don't think anybody here, yes? Okay, we've got one. I'll keep going. Okay, research and development. It has to be a new way to do something, technological in nature, so it has to be based on tools, making, process, okay, something technological. It has to be your pre-production costs. So once you have it selling, and okay, then it's not research and development anymore. Now it's product, okay? But the point of all the research up to the point where you have a sellable product, research and development. I strongly suggest you get professional help with that. Do not try to wing the forms on your own because you're missing a ton of stuff. So get somebody that will go through everything and make sure you get full credit. If you are coming up with a new way to do something, I don't care what you're doing. If it's technological in nature, so whether you come up with a new way, a new process, a new computer program, a new tool, a new process for something, if it's something that's technological in nature, that's the only requirement, and you come up with a new idea, all your costs basically turn into a tax deduction on the research and development credit. It is huge. Do not mess with it unless you get somebody to help you. Get a tax professional. But any tax professional, anybody that's a CPA or an EA, most of the time knows what they're doing on the R&D credit. make sure you get somebody that's aggressive. If it's like, well, what's your cost? Okay, great. Here's the credit. Here's the form. No, don't go to that guy. You want somebody that's going to ask you like a million, well, what'd you spend money on? And where'd you go? And what about your mileage? And what about this? And what'd you buy? And your office supplies. Did you get that? Okay, all that stuff. You know, get somebody that's going to be vigilant about it and get you huge credit. It will be huge R&D credit. So other taxes you should know about. Franchise tax. What's that? Again, separate, collected by the Secretary of State. Not collected by the Department of Finance, not the IRS, nothing to do with those guys. No, this is the Secretary of State. This is if you have an LLC. Remember I said your LLC is like your baby, separate person. Well, this is the child support you pay your baby mama, who is the state. It's $150 a year in Arkansas. Missouri is considerably less if you're in Missouri, and I don't know what it is in Oklahoma, but it's not significantly different. But you do have to pay a fee every year just to be an LLC. Doesn't matter if you're running a business with the LLC. Doesn't matter if you made any money, did anything. It's just for the LLC to exist, business or not. Yes, ma'am?
Is that deductible to pay that? Like, can you write that?
Yes. The question was, is it deductible? Yes. So all your taxes that you pay to other agencies are deductible on your federal income tax, except for Social Security and self-employment tax because, well, you know, it's the federal government. Commercial property tax. This is another thing we need to talk about. In every county in Arkansas charges property tax. You need to register to pay your commercial property tax. That's collected by the county. Again, not the Department of Finance, not the Secretary of State, not the IRS. Completely different agency. Nobody talks to each other. Commercial property tax. You have to pay a tax, tiny tax, on all of your assets that make you money. That includes, I have an office. So I have a couple of desks and chairs and stuff, and I have a couple other things, right? Oh, here we go. Yes?
If you own the property yourself?
No. This is your assets that you own to run your business. So this is like desks, tables, chairs, your, examination table or whatever you call it. Yes, sir, in the back.
How does depreciation value on those assets apply to commercial property tax? Is this like if you pay for something?
Oh, come on now. That's an advanced class question. Okay, I have to repeat it because of the streaming people. Hi, streaming people. I have to repeat it. So he's asking about depreciation. It turns out that the state or the county has their own depreciation tables that they use. So you just tell them how old, what year you bought your stuff in, and they write it off they have their own tables. You just tell them how much you paid for it and what year, and they figure it out. So, good question. Little advanced for this class. Yes, sir, here.
If we step back to the franchise tax, is there any advantage for like Wyoming or Delaware?
I really hate that question. Okay, the question is, should I get one in Wyoming or one in Delaware? And I really hate that question because everybody's like, but it's like a thing, you got to have like a Delaware corporation. It's got to be a C Corp in order to scale up and get sold, or I got to be a Delaware corporation. I'm like, are they buying you tomorrow? No, let's just do it in Arkansas where you live. And then we can move it to Delaware if at some point you're big enough to get there. Why would you be in Delaware? This is my favorite. I did a lot of research on this, trying to figure out why Delaware? And I was like, well, maybe they don't have any corporate income tax. No, they have lots of corporate income tax. And their franchise tax is ridiculous. Like thousands. Like California is ridiculous too. But anyway, Delaware, super high, right? Why would you even go there? And you don't even have Nexus. Well, you don't need Nexus in Delaware for one. Delaware has a special court system for just corporations. So when they decide to get all litigious and sue one another, they are on the fast track to getting it settled. That's why everybody wants to be a Delaware corporation, because the court system works about 1,000 times faster, and it's very advantageous to get through the court system. You're not tied up in court for years and years if you're in Delaware. That's why. The Wyoming, I still haven't figured out. But unless you have a ranch out there, why are you lying about where your nexus is? Seriously, I've heard the Wyoming thing a few times. It's like, why not just tell the truth? Tell me you're from Arkansas. That's where Walmart's from. It ain't all that bad. It's not New York, but we live here, right? Arkansas franchise tax is $150 a year. It's a very low filing fee. Very few requirements. You do not have to disclose your members. You can have people that own your company that not on any piece of paper anywhere, except for in your corporate records. I think Arkansas is a great state to have a corporation in, especially when it cost me 3 times as much to set one up in Oklahoma. Missouri costs a lot of money. I don't know. Arkansas seems pretty good for getting started. If you need to be a Delaware corporation to make somebody else happy that's going to buy you, you know what? You're making enough money for them to buy you. You can afford to move your company to Delaware before they write the check. Okay? That's the Delaware. I still can't figure out Wyoming. They have who lives in Wyoming, right? What's that?
I used to.
Really? It's so, there's no, it's.
I started my LLC there and moved here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you moved it here, yay!
Wyoming is incredibly cheap.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I don't see the advantage,
Nobody
like,
lives there. It's
yeah. I don't see the advantage court-wise or legally. I can understand Delaware. But anyway, I've got to keep on moving on here. Sales tax. I'll tell you. If you are the end user, you pay sales tax. If you are not the end user, you should not be paying sales tax. So if you are buying things that you are reselling, now a lot of people here are in service, bakers, welder. If you are buying things, you should have a sales tax permit to collect sales tax. That is also what you give to people to say, hey, I shouldn't be paying sales tax on this because I'm not the end user. It's for resale. And then, okay, you got that. We're still working on a sales tax permit for a few people. So anyway, $50 one-time fee for the state of Arkansas to collect sales tax. This information on where to do that should be in your packet on that last page or second to last page. If you are selling things, anything, t-shirts, uniforms, even if you're a service business, products, health products, oils, supplements, right? Anything in your business. If you are selling a thing that you can pick up and give to your person, or they can haul off on a trailer, you need to be collecting sales tax, okay? If you walk into Walmart and be like, nah, I don't want to pay sales. You're going to charge me sales tax, really? Like, what are you, nuts? Of course they're going to charge you sales tax if you buy stuff at Walmart. So yes, it's the law. You need to be charging sales tax to your customers if you're selling things. It's not a choice. It's not inconvenience to your customer. You're not overcharging them. You don't feel bad about it. It's the law. You need to charge your customer sales tax. If you need advice on that, it's a little bit more than I can get into in this class, but you need to be charging sales tax. If you are performing a service of cleaning anything, repairing anything, cleaning anything, repairing anything, and there's a few other things that include adding on, like building additions on houses, adding carpets, lots of things. There's a lot of services that are taxable in the state of Arkansas. Services are taxable. Some services are taxable. Nothing to do with healthcare. So like even like tattoos or any kind of haircuts, anything where you're like touching facials, anything that requires a health department permit where you're touching people, not taxable. The jewelry is, if you're getting jewelry, like piercings. Sales tax, important. Wrote a blog, Grassroots Taxes blog, has all this information too. If you think you should be charging sales tax, please check with me or somebody else that knows about this stuff, or even check with the state. Also, sales tax is collected by, again, the Department of Finance and Administration that checks out with everything else, so don't get that confused with your payroll taxes or your sales tax or your income tax or your alcohol taxes or anything else. Yeah, okay. Couple things real quick, and then I'm gonna have to quit. Compliance issues. If you are having people work for you, you need to send a form into the IRS, not just hand somebody a cute memo at the end of the year. You have to file it with the IRS. 1099s, if they are contract laborers or subcontractors. If they are employees, you need to give them a W-2. You need to be running payroll. It is not a choice whether somebody's, I don't feel like paying payroll taxes. That's so complicated. Why would I put people on payroll? No. It's the law. If they're employees, you're telling them what to do, when to show up, what to wear, how to do their job. They're employees. You need to pay them like employees. They need to be on a W-2, and you need to be running payroll. Not a choice. Not a, I don't feel like it. It's a law. You need to be contributing to their payroll taxes. Insurance, we talked about that. Workers' comp, we talked about. Liability insurance, we talked about all that. City business license, most cities require a business license if you're in the city limits. Fayetteville, you get 2 doors down from City Hall. Even if you're working at home, you should have a city business license. Can't get a sales tax permit without one. Usually 30 or 40 bucks in most cities. I don't know where you're at, but even if you're working at home, you should have a city business license unless you're out in the county. Zoning, oh man, we should start with zoning. You want to make your neighbors mad? Start a business, really. Start getting UPS trucks, like delivering every day to your house, or have like a tractor trailer try to back up to your front door. Yeah, your neighbors will be on the phone with the zoning commission so fast, trying to get you thrown out of your property or your business shut down. Do not make your neighbors mad. Do not run a business out of your home and have customers walking in and out all day long because they're going to think you're a drug dealer. Don't upset your neighbors. If you have a problem, you want to expand, you want to run a business out of your home, you want to have customers stopping by, one, you need liability insurance, and two, you need a permit for that. And you need to go over it with your neighbors. It's called a conditional use permit. They're impossible to get in Fayetteville. Hopefully you live somewhere else. If you live in an HOA, you might have rules about that too. You might not be able to. So if you run a business out of your house, make sure that you're not actually seeing customers or having deliveries there, and you just work at home. Because your neighbors will, they're the worst. Anyway, all right, it's 1 minute to 7:30. I am not in a hurry to leave. They will throw us out at 8 o'clock and we'll have to move to the parking lot. She's already starting to turn into a troll. She's starting to get she's turning a little green there. Anyway, any and all questions about business, taxes? Did you want to have some closing comments? Oh, okay. There we go. If you have a question, she will bring you the microphone so you can be recorded. There you go.
Can you use an LLC for as a subcontractor?
Let's wait for this. She's almost done. And that would be my alarm telling me it's 7:30, and it's going off in my purse. Anyway, I know. It's really loud, so I don't forget it's 7:30. Anyway. Oh, sorry. I just remembered right now when I heard it going off. Okay. So he's working on it. Right here with the yellow shirt again. Go ahead.
Can you use an LLC as a subcontractor as well?
I strongly advise it, especially for income reasons. If you're making a lot of money as a subcontractor, yeah, you probably want to form an LLC and run the money through that so you can get a better deal with the self-employment tax at the end of the year, especially if you don't have a whole lot of expenses. Are you saying you are the subcontractor or you're hiring subcontractors?
I am the subcontractor.
You are the subcontractor, yeah. If you're making a considerable amount of money as a sub and you're getting 1099 at the end of the year, you might want to consider forming an LLC. I'd be happy to consult with you. I do free consultations.
We'll be in contact.
So yeah, my contact information is all wrong on this. If my address, I know a few people came in since I said this. I'm not up the street anymore. I am now in Springdale across from the Waffle House. I am co-located in Valerie's Family Taxes. Valerie's a friend of mine. We both had too much office space, so we're just roomies now. So I'm in the back part of her office, and we're all happier. So I am in Springdale. I am no longer up the street on the square after 12 years on the square. Not here anymore. Sad. Yes, sir.
Do I should pay taxes on commercial property tax if I work on my home?
Yes. If you have any assets that are making you money. Now, a lot of time the home-based business. Go ahead.
Like, just I work everything on internet, so.
Right. If you want to register with the county, here's a trick. They will not approve your application unless you're showing some kind of inventory, like of office supplies or supplies. The minimum they will accept is $25. And then they generally want to see a computer if you are using one, because like everybody has one, right? Or a phone or some kind of electronic device. Those two things together, when you assess and you pay your taxes, is going to wind up costing you about $6 a year. So the commercial property tax is very, very low, and you don't pay it for a year and a half after you assess. You assess by May 1st. You don't pay the tax on that till the following year, October 15th, which is like crazy, but it's paid for the prior year, almost 2 years back. It's not a lot, but it's, again, it's one of those things. I guess I really didn't get into this issue, that it's like, I went to this audit. Another one of these crazy stories. I went to this audit with this guy, and it looked like he was hiding money in a company, like he was filtering money through a company that wasn't real. And the IRS was like, this isn't even a real company. You just made this up, and this is a fake address and stuff like that. Turns out the address was misspelled by one letter. It seemed like a normal word, but you know, it was in one of those cities where it's like they spell everything wrong just to confuse you. You know, I'm not mentioning any cities, but anyway, it was one of those cities. Anyway, they thought everything was fake, but I was like the IRS agent. I'm like, well, here I got last 5 years of meeting minutes. Here's the commercial property tax. Here's the franchise. You know, if you treat your company like a company, it makes you look better when bad things happen. So when people sue you and the IRS comes after you, and I say when because, I mean, it happens. I have people happen to it every day. That's that's what I do. You know, just voluntarily throwing yourself under the bus and registering for commercial property tax and paying $6 a year to have a business registered with the county makes you look like you're a real business. You know, it's just one more facet of the cost of doing business, and and it pays for the roads and this very library that we're in. So this is funded by the county. So.
My second question is very quickly.
Yes.
Should I pay DBA taxes in Benton County?
Should you form your DBA? Well, it depends on where you're located. Whatever county you're doing business in is where you get your DBA. And that's not really a tax. You're taxed on your personal income tax. So you pay that on your IRS or your state income tax forms. But if you're going to get a DBA, you have to, and that's every county you do business in. So if you're split between, if you have a house up here and a business down here, you probably want to get it in both counties if you're operating in both counties. It's $25 flat fee. You have to pay in cash. So, sir.
If I got a DBA because I thought I was going to do something,
Right.
and then I didn't do it,
Right.
do I have to claim that at all inside of my federal taxes? It's
Well,
just sitting there. There's an account, like $100 in the account or whatever, and there's a bank account that
Well,
has the
you
DBA.
would only be claiming your income. So if you don't have any income, there's nothing to claim.
Okay,
So
cool.
do you need to file a form?
So I don't
or
have
probably
any
not?
entity, not like an S corp where I might have to pay some kind of filing
No,
fee. Okay.
a DBA is good forever. It's not really a thing. It's just clarity to the county of who's using this name. And it protects anybody else from using that name in the county too.
Cool. Cool. Can I move, if I have yield farming crypto assets, and if I have a, I know you're loving these questions, and if I have
Twitch. Wow.
if I have an old 401k, and let's say I have a small S corp that all I'm going to do with that S corp is keep the books for a couple of other businesses that have either DBAs or LLCs, right? And I'll charge those a small fee. But I move those assets into the S corp. Are those income? Can I do that for one? And is it income for me, or is it income
No.
for the S corp? And then I just
No.
pay myself a salary to manage that yield
The
farming
salary
asset.
to manage it, yeah. And then, well, the fee would come in. Now they're talking about two different things. Moving
Sure.
assets of the other companies in. No, that's funding the company. That's taking money out of one pocket. That's a shareholder contributing money. Even if they're not shareholders, it's you. It's not income to you. You're just holding their assets. It's their interest. Like it's their money, things they paid for. It's not really yours. You're just holding it for them? Is that what I'm saying? Like they're using the assets in their company that they paid for, but you're putting it on your books? This is probably a little bit more complicated than
the
for
class,
everybody
yeah,
else in the
sure.
class. We might
Yeah.
want to talk about this one later. So,
Okay.
okay.
I'd be happy to.
Yes, ma'am, in the back. Sorry, I'm going to get to you next. It's just you standing right there next to her. I don't want to run around the room too much. Go ahead, ma'am.
I actually have a couple of questions. My first one was, because it's just me, I'm very small and I'm just starting out, would you recommend like the sole proprietorship versus the LLC for this year?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I don't see any
'Cause I'll be
reason,
making
since you're
like-
not collecting sales tax, and
Right.
you're not really in a high-risk business, you don't have employees,
Right.
and you have, so you're in healthcare, right, of some, you said massage?
Massage therapy,
Right, so you're, some kind of healthcare-ish. So you have insurance.
I do.
Malpractice insurance
Yeah.
of some sort.
Yeah.
That would cover anything that you did. So I don't see like any other protection other than money for being an LLC at this point. So like I said, let's go back to the beginning, make money first.
Okay.
Let's see, make money, and then if this is a good practice, you have a lot of clients coming in, we're actually making some money, maybe next year, form an LLC and move the assets
Right.
over to kind of protect your income a little bit more.
Okay. My
Okay.
second question was, because I don't have an employer who's taken out my taxes and my social security and all of that.
Right.
Is there a way, I've kind of heard through the grapevine that I can like pay that quarterly directly to the IRS?
You
Is that
should,
something?
and to the IRS and the state. But are you required to? Okay, if you owed last year and you had to cut them a check last year, or you didn't pay in enough, no. If you owe over $1,000 at the end of this year, federal or state, either one, they may charge you a fee for not paying in quarterly. But it's one of those things that I say, you know, let's look at this in like October or November, see how much money you've really made, what we can write off. And then at that point, you probably want to make a payment ahead of time. So,
And can you just set that up through like irs.gov?
yeah,
Okay.
if you have an irs.gov, and then the state, you don't even need a login. The state, you can make an estimated payment just without any kind of login or anything.
Okay, thank you.
She's next. She's been waiting. I just didn't want to run you back and forth.
With the DBA, you said you need a DBA for every county where you are doing business. Does that mean where you yourself are performing work or where your clients are?
Where you're performing work.
Okay.
So yeah, not where your clients are, but I mean, if you are, like if you live in one county and you're there and you have an office in another county, you probably want to do both counties because you technically have your business is domiciled in both counties. But you know, if you run down to Fort Smith to do a job or something, then no. I
Or if your clients like
yeah,
all
if
live
your
in
clients
different
are there, if you're
states.
traveling to see your clients, that's a different story. But you have a DBA in the county in Arkansas where you actually have your feet down, which, like I said, if you live in one county and work in another county, you probably want to do both. So, anybody else? Oh, over here.
Okay, we have about 5 more minutes.
And she's going to throw us out. Then we have to move to the parking lot.
Are there any downsides in being an employee in your own LLC?
Yes, that's what I was talking about with the reasonable salary. If you don't have other employees, I found a workaround for that, but technically, yes, you do have to be an employee of an S corporation. You have to elect your LLC to be an S corporation to get yourself away from being a sole proprietor, and then you have to basically hire yourself. But if you don't, I'd say yes, but with yes and kind of yes. How about that? So
Do you have any limitations with what you can do with the money that did not come to you through the salary, but the rest of it?
no, it is your money.
So
If you're
don't-
100% owner of the
It's me
LLC,
and
you can
my
do whatever you
spouse.
want with your money. However, at some point, you cannot, there's some technicalities, like you can't take out more than you've actually earned or put in. So if you borrow a lot of money and you have a lot of debt, and some of that money is going into your pocket.
I know that.
So it happens. It happens more than you realize that people get a big SBA loan and whatever, and suddenly they're taking out some of the money they're paying themselves is actually being funded by the debt. At that point, it becomes taxable income to you. But that's something you have to look at with an accountant. It's a complex issue. There's a lot of math and there's a lot of ways of getting around it if you look at it before the end of the year too. Yes, sir. Microphone.
Back to that debt thing, if you're doing a lot of M&A, merger and acquisition.
Just took a class on that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right. Well, so like maybe you're buying a car wash for 2 times debt service coverage ratio, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully, 3 maybe. And you get the loan out, and you have an extra $50,000 that's just going to float you some income, right?
Right. That has to come to you as taxable income. You can't take it as a non-taxable draw.
Right. Okay.
Did that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, good. Basically, when you're an S corporation, it's just like being a sole proprietor. It's just like all the money that comes in and all the money the company makes is taxable for income tax. So whether you take the money out of the company, whether you leave the money in the company, it doesn't matter. It's all taxable to you. Its profit is taxable to you every year. So it doesn't matter if it's like, well, I didn't take any money out of the company. You're not a C corporation. You're not a stockholder. You can pay taxes twice if you want to be that, okay? You get to pay taxes twice if you're a C corp. It's not a better deal. But it's just, the taxes are passed through to the shareholders. So you pay 100% of the taxes on all the income. So when I say it's a non-taxable distribution, you've already paying taxes on it. It's a tax-paid distribution. Comes to you. It's investment income, not work. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Oh, microphone. Oh, see, she put it away. She's trying to throw us out. She wants to go home.
So if you are an employee in your own LLC, can you still take advantage of a Tax Cut and Jobs Act?
Oh, absolutely. All that applies. Everything,
okay. Like
everything applies to you the same. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Everything applies to you. There's no difference. In fact, most of that applies to businesses. It doesn't matter if you're a one-person business or a 500-person business. It's all about the same. Questions from anybody else? Questions for the streaming people? If not, if y'all just want to chat, I'm going to start folding this stuff up then, okay?
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
I really appreciate it.